The gentleman from California is recognized for 2 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, I rise in support of Mr. Meyer's motion.
I rise in opposition to the motion.
Supportive of the motion.
Vote against the previous question.
Rise today to urge my colleagues to support the motion for the previous question.
Whether our legislators are wrestling with the complex issues of national health care or national defense, deciding the future of our planet's environment, our children's education, or the space program, they are constantly confronted with difficult questions raised by rapidly changing technology.
If we're going to be an advanced nation, we need every energy option for our future economic growth.
Continuing advances in science, computer technology, and telecommunications complicate the decision-making process in every area of legislation and raise concerns requiring expertise beyond the scope of most congressional staffs.
Both the Office of Technology Assessment and the National Academy.
Fortunately, there is a support agency that works directly with and for committees of Congress to provide objective, thorough analysis of emerging, complex technological issues.
Time of gentleman has expired. Without objection. The gentleman from Indiana.
In 1972, the Office of Technology Assessment was established by legislation to help Congress identify the present and future impacts of technology. Since then, OTA has produced hundreds of reports in direct response to official requests from congressional committees.
We have to focus our efforts so that we can do...
OTA is divided into 6 programs, each focusing on specific areas of concern.
Those of you who are not working... The program that I direct is called Energy, Transportation, and Infrastructure. I oversee the course of the study to be sure that the quality, the standards, the objectivity and independence that we strive for in all of our studies is a part of the process. Bring to bear our experiences on what this project can best do. Once we have a study, we prepare a proposal, take that to our Technology Assessment Board, composed of senators and representatives, equally divided by party, and we present the proposal for a study.
3.4%.
The function of the board is so unique in the congressional process. It helps this agency create a product that is nonpartisan.
We do things pretty much by consensus on the OTA board. We have, I think, a very high caliber of board members from both the House and Senate and from both parties.
There's a bill pending now.
We do provide a political dimension to it, which I think is very important in terms of achieving maximum relevance for the political institution that it serves.
The board plays an essential role ensuring that there's real relevance to the work we do, because they are not shy about criticizing any study where they think it's not a reasonable use of OTA resources. They really function more as a board of directors than they do a congressional committee. The amount of cooperation is quite extraordinary.
As we craft this, we'll try and tie it in so that it will get us the information in a timely fashion.
The board meets monthly and approves all actions. For example, if a request has come in for an assessment, the board has to approve that and approve the budget for it. After the study is completed, it comes back to us for review. And while we don't exercise any editorial powers over it, we can comment in general as to its balance and validity and what the board thinks might improve the quality. Hearing no objection, the other 5 proposals are hereby approved.
It can run as much as $350,000 per year for life. We found that this drug,
the Technology Assessment Advisory Council works with the staff of the Office of Technology Assessment of the U.S. Congress to share any expertise that we might have. And the Advisory Council really has a responsibility to be the loyal opposition, because we really are charged to be helpful by assessing what we see and trying to provide constructive criticism.
OTA is part of a constellation of activity where specialized technical expertise has to be brought to bear on the policy-making process. And it's structurally just right. It's the one agency that brings to bear the widest range of public concerns, and it's very, very important that there be that avenue of democratic representation. If OTA didn't exist, it would have to be invented immediately.
It's very difficult now to find any policy issue which doesn't have some significant relationship to technology and technology policy. I've been struck by the immense range of issues which the OTA is called upon to give expert analysis and guidance on.
Can we look ahead and say what impact those might have? The projects here at OTA run an average of 18 months, but that's really an average. We're doing one right now where the committee wanted the project done in about 10 months, and we're able to accommodate that. Part of our consideration in determining the timing of studies is, of course, responsiveness to congressional need and utility for the congressional process. So I think this whole interplay among telecom, transportation, manufacturing technologies is going to be a very challenging. OTA is a very multidisciplinary agency, and the expertise for various parts of the studies we do rest in different programs in the agency.
There is significant literature that suggests that dispersion negatively affects opportunity, employment. The project director's role is to keep an intellectual overview of the entire subject area and try to make sure that we're covering all the areas we need to be covering, and then also to review all the various work that's done both by contractors and staff and try to shape it and put it all together. Sectors have affected location patterns.
I think we also have the issue of infrastructure. I think that the committees are very concerned about one of the important parts of our process is to invite an advisory panel to come and help us review the products and mostly to retain an independent, objective approach.
Once that's done, we will begin our own research, which is usually a combination of a literature review, some data analysis, a lot of intensive field work, and then once the report is done, it goes to our Technology Advisory Board for final review, and as long as they approve it, then we would give it to our requesting committees for their release.
That is much more important than maybe any of the other.
What we can offer to the Congress that maybe nobody else can is an approach that looks at everything that is known on the subject and incorporates the views of the various interests so that it is not only a quality product, but it's relevant to them. We do the analysis not in the abstract. We do these studies to help Congress in their legislative process.
We are, I think, going to do a contractor report.
We're going to try to cover all aspects of the study as where we are today. We've been interviewing.
Contractors can provide us extra manpower and contacts and just time to focus on a particular task.
The primary role is a physician, is the health service provider.
The particular study that I'm working on now is on information technology in the healthcare system. The question itself has legal aspects, it has economic aspects, as well as the telecommunications regulation and the healthcare regulation, all of that. We don't have all that expertise in-house, and so we get some contractors to do pieces of the study for us.
Probably the biggest area in terms of cost savings overall is standardization, and that's an area where the government could play a major role.
We are discussing the implications of technology in a very important area, namely health care.
The workshop was about how information technology and healthcare is actually affecting real people.
The majority of these subjects are able to use the technology.
There are uses of information technology that are going to change the way that people select their health care. They're going to change the way people think about their health care. And there's probably nothing we've ever done that only has two sides. You have to bring in so many different sides that it gets hard to cover them all. But insofar as we can, we bring in as many different voices as we can.
In the Instant Library, we have about 200 articles now on breast cancer. And so a person can
The workshop is generally made up of the experts or the working level people who deal day to day with the issues or the technologies in which we're looking.
That's where telemedicine comes in.
We go about looking at these issues in a broader contextual framework than some of the other groups. We're almost compelled by our own discipline to look at factors far beyond the narrow question.
The challenge then is to use the technology.
I think the comprehensiveness of our studies and our willingness to look at the issue in the broader context, that is the value that OTA has, coupled with its commitment to balanced objective research.
Once we improve the content of these systems, we will see more and more impact.
One thing I think that makes the process work is that OTA still maintains the responsibility for putting this information into its final form. We try to scope OTA reports so that we're writing at the layman's level from an expert's eye. And it's a journalistic effort. We're journalists as much as we are scientists or engineers.
The focus is not on bureaucracy or the process. The focus is on the work and doing the work well.
The product, however, is not the only contribution that we make to the legislative process.
Our board meets with OTA.
OTA is often asked to testify at congressional hearings so that we have an opportunity to make a formal contribution on the record to the legislative process.
So you do a great service not only to the Congress, but to the general public.
We also have an opportunity to share our work with a number of communities outside the Congress. The academic community, industry groups, public interest community. All of these groups really use our work extensively, and they in turn rely on some of our analysis when they interact with Congress.
OTA has been at the cutting edge. The studies have been uniformly excellent, and the Congress has made use of them. There's no question but what it has made a huge impact.
We understand the technology and we give it to Congress on an objective basis, which most of the time they're able to use, and that's why we're around.
According to the Office of Technology Assessment,
the Office of Technology Assessment found that 4 factors.
The OTA has published a study agreeing with both of these studies.
Further, the OTA report clearly emphasizes the need to complete this research.
The Office of Technology Assessment says it would be impossible.
And the OTA have released reports that are highly critical.
A recent report from the Office of Technology Assessment also points out the following.
Well, there have been a series of new studies in the last year.